Let's face it, the state of the world today seems, how do I put this, desolate. Inflation is through the roof, no one can get a job, no one can buy a house. Everyone seems to be living a better life than you on social media. Everyone else seems to be constantly surrounded by people while you're at home alone, doom scrolling until 2 a.m. on a Saturday night, wishing you were more popular, cool, charismatic, whatever you think you're lacking to have a social life and not be so miserable. But let's say tomorrow you wake up with everything you ever wanted. You're better looking, cool, popular. People are inviting you to every party. Your social calendar is stacked. Would that actually solve the innate problem at hand in your life? Your loneliness? See, the secret to thriving in this miserable life has always been and always will be the people who are part of our journeys, our loved ones, our friends, our family, our chosen family, our connections. As more and more people struggle with loneliness, I want you to remember that you have the power to alchemize that feeling of loneliness to connection. The art of connecting with someone is a very delicate skill that takes time and trial and error to master. This is how I'm able to build connections and build an immediate connection with almost everyone I meet, and also nourish the current connections in my life. The secret to building connections with almost everyone you meet is to be playful. That's it. Whenever I am running around running errands with my sister and we are, making returns at Macy's, picking up groceries or ordering a coffee, my sister always chides me for flirting with the people we come across, like the barista, for instance. Look, I could be a pretty flirty person, I admit. But I know when I'm intentionally flirting with a potential romantic connection and when I'm not. In these instances where my sister has accused me of being flirtatious, I have been doing nothing but showing up as a curious child and finding any random thing to joke about during the interaction to acknowledge the humanity of the people I'm engaging in those transactional exchanges with. Look, I have worked my ass off as a low wage worker in a deli before. I know what it is like to be spoken to as if I'm an invisible robot expected to comply and deliver on every request. I also know what it is like to be spoken to like I am an actual person with respect, grace, compassion, and kindness. At the end of the day, everyone just wants to be humanized, seen, and maybe have a laugh. And that's the secret. That's all there is to it. Enter your everyday mundane interactions as if you were your 8-year-old self, again, curious to learn more about the world. Ask questions, saying the silliest things, channel your inner Willy Wonka. Be whimsical, be mysterious, be performative, be fun, be engaging. You and the people you are interacting with will leave the situation in a happier mood. And who knows, maybe you might even leave with their phone number. Because in my experience, the key to actually flirting is to also draw up conversation in a fun way without making it seem like you're hitting on someone. These small everyday interactions are opportunities to practice your conversational skills and build the muscle of connection so that when you find yourself at a corporate event or invited to a new party, you're not just sitting awkwardly in a corner by yourself with no one to talk to. But Angkor, I'm shy. 4-year-olds can be shy. Grown-ass adults don't have the luxury to be shy. It risks being perceived as awkward and comes across as rude. You might feel shy, but it is not an excuse to not to push yourself out of your comfort zone and engage with new people. That is the only way you will actually meet and make new connections. So the next time you're at a boring party, take the responsibility and make it fun yourself. Find ways to engage with people you don't know in a playful and respectful way. The best part is that since they don't know who you are, you can show up however you like. Fake it till you make it. Think of it as a fever dream where you can cosplay as an alter ego and give yourself permission to just have fun. And that's the key. Having fun. Let your inner child out to play. Focus on having fun in that moment without worrying about when you're going to see this person again or whether or not this person likes you. You're just going with the flow. People will come to you when it is time to leave and they will ask you for your phone number, or they'll be like, let's hang out again. When you're not worried about people liking you and just focus on having a good time together, you take away the pressure and leave a good impression organically. You are not stressing over artificially controlling how the connection forms. You give it breathing room to breathe. And when you're engaging with people in a playful manner, when you're operating as if everything is play, you also free yourself from making judgments of other people as well. You remove any preconceived biases or initial impressions you may have made about that other person, and you're just present with that person and how they're showing up in that moment. When you engage with people in a playful way in the present, you add a new dimension to the connection and you allow both parties new data. You both can then take a step back and ask yourself, do I actually want to continue to interact with this person? Do I actually like this person? Do I want to see them again? What role do I think they could play in my life? What is the potential here? By not taking the interaction too seriously, you both don't feel the pressure to perform and make the other person like you. You just organically do or don't. You don't feel like you have to chase after this other person, and you don't care whether or not they chase after you. You play and have fun and don't overthink it. If something comes from it, great. If not, oh well. At least you had a great time in the moment you were together. And that's the beauty of being playful. You turn social situations you previously wanted to escape to your advantage. You leave being remembered fondly as the star of the party, and you actually end up having fun. And look, we all have many people in our lives. Our parents, our romantic partners, our friends, our kids, our colleagues. You might not like everyone. You may only feel truly seen and safe with a few. I want you to think that each of your relationships are fertile ground to grow upon. I said you might not like everyone, and I'm not saying to go out of your way to force connections with everyone in your life. What I am asking you to do is to view every current person in your life and every relationship you have as not living to its fullest potential in terms of the quality of the connection. Examine the current roster. Who makes you feel seen, loved, heard, and respected? Who do you actually feel a connection with? Who do you want to feel more nourished by? Who do you want to feel more connected to? Who is not making you feel seen, loved, respected, and heard that you wish showed up in a more nourishing way for you? As you reflect on these questions, I want you to remember that you have the power to show people how you want to be treated. You have the agency to add that love, respect, that depth, and connection in any relationship you want. I also want you to recognize that not all relationships will be worth you investing your energy into them. And not everyone will reciprocate it. And sometimes two people really are so different that no matter what, you just don't click. And that's okay. You don't have to like everyone, but you do need to respect everyone and treat them with basic cordiality as necessary. The key to strengthening our connections that you want to nourish and grow is to show up as a giver, not a taker. In his book, Give and Take, psychologist and Wharton's top-rated professor, Adam Grant, divides people into 3 groups: takers, givers, and matchers. He explains, whereas takers strive to get as much as possible from others and matchers aim to trade evenly, givers are the rare breed of people who contribute to others without expecting anything in return. In the words of Adam Grant, takers have a distinctive signature. They like to get more than they give. They tilt reciprocity in their own favor, putting their own interests ahead of others' needs. Givers, on the other hand, givers will help you whenever the benefits to others exceed the personal costs. Whatever you do in life, do not end up as a taker in any of your relationships. Nobody wants to be associated with, or feels connected to takers. You know, growing up in school, our teachers would tell us to leave places better than we found them. They, of course, were talking about cleaning up and treating property with respect. I would like you to, however, apply this mindset to people. Whenever you leave an interaction with anyone, leave that person energetically nourished and better than they were when you started the interaction. Give more to the interaction than you take from it. You may not immediately receive that energy back from the other person, but I guarantee you, you will eventually, and it will be in the least expected and yet most nourishing way possible. When you're interacting with the taker, however, you will never receive that energy back or that effort reciprocated. Takers are self-serving individuals incapable of showing consideration for other people's experiences. Once you start to recognize who the takers are in your life, you can start cutting them out and rechannel the energy you were previously giving them back to the people who are worth your time and energy and effort. Focus on being a giver and cut out the takers. The hard truth is, every interaction in every relationship truly is conditional and transactional. But Angkor, love is unconditional. Yes, I agree. Love is an unconditional force that compels us to feel strong, inexplicable ties to someone. Love is unconditional, but our relationships are not. Relationships are a flower plant that requires love, trust, respect, honesty, and integrity from two people to keep alive. This flower plant requires intentional presence and attention, engagement and play. It requires giving and taking. When you love someone, be that your mom, partner, friend, you cannot help but love them for who they truly are, their negative and positive qualities and traits. How you treat and are treated by the people you love is separate from the love that you have for them and that they have for you. You can express your love through your words, behaviors, actions, and the other person can do the same towards you. You can love someone and no longer be in relation with them. The way people speak with you, treat you, and respect you is conditional. Our everyday interactions with people we love are opportunities for both parties to put in the work to keep the flower plant of the relationship alive, through how both parties communicate, treat, and respect one another. I have heard and read many times that there are many C's to a relationship. Here are my top 7 C's every relationship needs: communication, consistency, compromise, conflict resolution, compassion, consideration, and conduct. I'll be making another video in the future going in depth on these 7 C's of connection, but for now, I want you to think of this construct as a way to measure how both parties are showing up for that flower plant. To not only keep it alive, but to help it grow, thrive, and bloom. Are the people in your life doing their part? Are you doing yours? Each flower plant you have in your life is delicate. If one person forgets to do their part, or if someone puts in too much water or not enough, you harm the growth of the plant. Everything in relationships is about balance. When you feel lonely and like you are not connected with someone, it is a sign that somewhere along the way, they said or did something that hurt or disrespected you, or you did something to them that hurt or disrespected them, and they created a distance between the two of you, and now you feel the pain of that distance. Like I said, giving and taking balance. If they did not do their part in properly maintaining the flower plant, you feel hurt, disrespected, and like there's a distance between the two of you. You may want to feel nourished, energized, and fulfilled by your interactions with this person again. You want to feel close with this person again. You want to close the distance, but don't know what to do to strengthen the connection and revive your dying flower plant. If you want to invest time and energy into strengthening any connection, you must focus on giving. Giving in a relationship looks like paying attention to what the other person says and does. It looks like actually listening to them when they are telling a story. There's this idea in sociology of making bids for connection. A bid for connection is when you and someone else is standing around and the other person says, "Oh, look at that pretty bird." And they're pointing to a bird sitting on a branch. In that moment, you could decide to either respond in an engaging way that acknowledges what the other person said about the bird, or you can choose to ignore it and continue about whatever you were doing. Doing the former will help you strengthen the connection. Doing the latter will hurt your connection. Bids for connection are actually nothing else but people expressing their most authentic thoughts, feelings, and selves. They are ripe opportunities to make the other person feel seen and understood. You just have to be willing to recognize the bids for connection and those opportunities when they arise. Pause whatever you're doing and focusing on and shift your focus and attention. Give energy in an engaging response in return. It is as simple as that. We all make bids for connections every day. The people who respond in a healthy and engaging way make us feel seen and understood, and we in turn see these people as people we can trust and safe to be ourselves around. This is how we build evidence in our minds about whether or not we feel like the flower plant of the connection is being nourished or not. This is how we feel like someone is putting in the time, energy, and attention to our relationships, because they are putting in the work at that moment that calls for it. They are showing up and taking care of the flower plant. When you think about how you met and came in relationship with any person in your life, the original connection was established, and then over time, both of you made these small bids for connections without your conscious awareness of it. And slowly, you began to feel seen and loved and connected to this person, and vice versa. You began to slowly build goodwill in the other person and them in you. Bids for connection is how relationships organically blossom and grow over time. I actually like to secretly use bids for connection as a litmus test to see who is actually putting in the work in my own relationships. See, I like Pokemon and I love to talk about it whenever I enthusiastically bring up something about a new game coming out or the team I'm using for competitive battling, and I'm talking with someone who knows nothing about Pokemon. It's an opportunity where they can either respond by asking me to tell them more about Pokemon or what's my favorite Pokemon, why do I love it so much, or they can choose to just ignore what I'm saying and change the subject. They can choose to engage in a way that makes me feel seen and heard and understood, or they can, make me feel ignored and dumb for expressing myself. But I'm not dumb, and expressing something I like and want to share with someone I love is not dumb either. We cannot control how people choose to show up for our bids for connection. We can, however, choose to see how they are showing up and process that information to assess the health of our flower plants and decide whether or not we want to put more energy into nourishing them anymore. And conversely, we can choose how we want to show up when other people make bids for connection. Going back to the party example, we have all been to a party where we are saying hi to someone we may not know or have seen in a while, and then we're just standing there awkwardly, and then out of an attempt to feel connected to you, that other person says something so out of pocket and random and almost incoherent that you're just like, what? And then you don't know how to respond. Recognize that this person is just trying to feel connected with you, and assume positive intent with whatever they're saying. You can choose to engage with them in a way that either nourishes the flower plant of your connection or ignores it. And I'm not saying to let people make rude remarks or comments or jokes. Be firm and assertive with your boundaries when people cross the line. What I am saying is that learn to recognize these small bids for connection when they pop up in your daily, day-to-day life. The last idea I will leave you with is goodwill. Goodwill is built over time, over a series of interactions where both parties do their fair share of nourishing the flower plant. Goodwill is established through your history with this person and how you both have treated, spoken with, and shown respect to one another in the past. How you treat, speak with, and respect one another in the present is contingent on your mutually shared history, on your goodwill with one another. Someone will love you for who you are, but treat you according to the goodwill they have in you and your character. Both parties in a relationship equally and subconsciously do this. Your interpersonal relationships are built on small, everyday interactions whereby you and the other person demonstrate basic respect and civility so that you both can maintain the relationship. In this regard, relationships are conditional and transactional. You both are constantly exchanging energy and putting in the work to not lose the foundation, history, and goodwill you have built over time. How much energy, effort, and time you are willing to put in is conditional on the other person's energy and effort and how they are reciprocating your energy, effort, time, and bids for connection. When people do not speak with one another politely, treat one another poorly, or disrespect one another, they are actively cutting that flower plant of the relationship with an axe. Relationships fail and connections are destroyed gradually over time because somewhere along the way, both parties stopped putting in effort, energy, time, and stopped engaging in bids for connection. One party starts taking more than giving. Goodwill is lost, credibility is lost, trust is broken, and the flower plant dies. Loneliness does not happen overnight and in a vacuum. It is a result of your relational flower plants dying or being non-existent. So get out there, plant some new seeds, and go water the flower plants currently in the garden of your life.